On for part two. Gulf of Mexico oil spill. All right. The Deepwater Horizon well is at the end of one branch of the Gulf Stream, the famed warm water current that flows from the Gulf of Mexico to the North Atlantic. Ah. Several experts said if the oil enters the stream, it would flow around the southern tip of Florida and up the eastern seaboard. It will be on the east coast of Florida in almost no time, Grabber said. I don't think we can prevent that. It's more of a question of when rather than if. That means even fish that come to fresh water to spawn will no longer be there. So if worse comes to worse and you got to try to catch something out of a river or brook that's not landlocked, forget it. They're not going to be there anymore. At the Joint Command Center run by the government and BP near New Orleans, a Coast Guard maintained Saturday that the leakage remained around 5,000 barrels or 200,000 gallons per day. But Coast Guard Admiral Thad Allen, appointed Saturday by Obama to lead the government's oil spill response, said no one could pinpoint how much oil is leaking from the ruptured well because it is about a mile underwater. And in fact, any exact estimate of what's flowing out of those pipes down there is probably impossible at this time due to the depth of the water and our ability to try and assess that from remotely operated vehicles and video, Allen said during a conference call. The Coast Guard, Allen said Saturday that a test of new technology used to reduce the amount of oil rising to the surface seemed to be successful. During the test Friday, an underwater robot shot a chemical meant to break down the oil at the site of the leak rather than spraying it on the surface from boats or planes, where the compound can miss the oil slick. From the land, the scope of the crisis was difficult to see. As of Saturday afternoon, only a light sheen of oil had washed ashore in some places. Well, that's enough. The real threat lurked offshore in the swelling, churning slick of dense, rust-colored oil the size of Puerto Rico. From the endless salt marshes of Louisiana to the white sand beaches of Florida, there is uncertainty and frustration over how the crisis got to this point and what will unfold in the coming days, weeks, and months. The concerns are both environmental and economic. The fishing industry is worried that marine life will die and that no one will want to buy products from contaminated water anyway. Tourism officials are worried that vacationers won't want to visit oil-tainted beaches, and environmentalists are worried about how the oil will affect the countless birds, coral, and mammals in and near the Gulf. Well, if it goes up the Atlantic seaboard, same thing there. The concerns are both. All right, we know they are out there, said Megan Calhoun, a spokeswoman from the Audubon Aquarium of the Americas in New Orleans. Unfortunately, the weather has been too bad for the Coast Guard and NOAA to get out there and look for animals for us. Fishermen and boaters want to help contain the oil, but on Saturday they were again hampered by high winds and rough waves that splashed over the miles of orange and yellow inflatable booms strung along the coast, rendering them largely ineffective. Some coastal Louisiana residents complained that BP, which owns the rig, was hampering mitigation efforts. I don't know what they are waiting on, said 57-year-old Raymond Schmidt in Venice, preparing his boat to take a French television crew on a tour. He didn't think conditions were dangerous. No, I'm not happy with the protection, but I'm sure the oil company is saving money. As bad as the oil spill looks on the surface, it may be only half the problem, said University of California, Berkeley engineering professor Robert Bay, who serves on a National Academy of Engineering panel on oil pipeline safety. There's an equal amount that could be subsurface too, said Bay, and that oil below the surface is damn near impossible to track. There's subduction zones, temperatures. Louisiana State University professor Ed Overton, who heads a federal chemical hazard assessment team for oil spills, worries about a total collapse of the pipe inserted into the well. If that happens, there would be no warning, and the resulting gusher could be even more devastating because regulating flow would then be impossible. When these things go, they go kaboom, he said. If this thing does collapse, we've got a big, big blow. Well, no kidding. Come on, scroll. BP has not said how much oil is beneath the Gulf seabed Deepwater Horizon was tapping, but a company official speaking on condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to discuss the volume of reserves confirmed reports that it was tens of millions of barrels, a frightening prospect to many. Yeah, I know about it. They keep that proprietary information. Louisiana Governor Barry Jindal said that has asked both BP and the Coast Guard for detailed plans on how to protect the coast. We still haven't gotten those plans, said Jindal. We're going to fully demand that BP pay for the cleanup activities. We're confident that at the end of the day, BP will cover those costs. Yeah, up to just $75 million. In a statement late Saturday, Coast Guard spokesman said the governor's office helped develop the plans that Jindal referred to. And you can't put a price on life. In a statement late Saturday, Coast Guard spokesman said the governor's office helped develop the plans that Jindal referred to. Captain Ron Lebec said federal and company officials had been working closely with the governor's office since day one to implement contingency which were developed in coordination with state and local leadership before this incident began. Obama has halted any new offshore drilling prospects unless rigs have new safeguards to prevent another disaster. Check my time. Okay. All right. As if to cut off mounting criticism, on Saturday, White House spokesman Robert Gibbs posted a blog entitled The Response to the Oil Spill, laying out the administration's day-by-day response since the explosion, using words like immediately and quickly, and emphasizing that Obama early on directed responding agencies to devote every resource to the incident and determining its cause. Patronize us, why don't you? In past Christian, Mississippi, 61-year-old Jimmy Rowell, a third-generation shrimp and oyster fisherman, worked on his boat at the harbor and stared out at the choppy waters. It's over for us if this oil comes ashore. It's just over us, Rowell said angrily, rubbing his forehead. Nobody wants no oily shrimp. Borenstein reported for Washington Associated Press writers Tamara Lush, Brian Skolov, Melissa Nelson, Mary Foster, Michael Kunzelman, Chris Kahn, Vicki Smith, Janet McConnelly, Alan Sayer, and AP photographer Dave Martin contributed. And there you go, folks. What a fine kettle of fish this is going to be when it cooks up. That won't be fat that bubbles up to the top of it. You know, instead of patronizing people, just tell it like it is. So that way we can all focus on dealing with the situation in its reality as it is right now. Can't we do that? Don't we have still people that can use their minds and develop means to deal with this? As I stated before, what about those oil-eating microbes that open the door for the genetic padding of the human genome, which already over a third has been patented by private corporations? So where's this little wonder bug? Why don't we let it loose? Or are you afraid it'll just run rampant and it'll eat up all the oil on the earth? Is that your concern? Well, would that be so bad? Do we really need plastic that much? You put hardeners in it, you put softeners in it, and you put fire retardants. All three are toxic to humans. I got to close this. God, please be with us in our hour of need. God bless all of you and keep you.